It's just
Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you'd all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. As usual, our first order of business is to thank Mark Stein for the donuts and Dennis Abrams for picking them up. Dennis always threatens me. Mark orders 4 dozen donuts and Dennis promises he'll show up with at least 3. So thank you, Mark. We haven't seen Mark for a while, so for the people that are new to the organization, to the membership, this is Mark Stein. He's been giving us donuts and providing us donuts actually since I joined the Veterans Club, which was in 2016.
6 years.
That's
Richard, if I could say a few things this morning. Tom recruited me, or I kind of, asked to be invited in. Did not think I'd be bringing donuts for 6 years. And as many of you guys know, I'm not a business, I'm not trying to spread the word of my business here. I really honestly just care about this Veterans Club. I live 3 minutes from here across Silverbell, and just have a real strong commitment to you guys.
So if you look at this group from 6 years ago, we've all lost weight, right?
Oh, everybody's lost weight, absolutely. But I'm not here to promote my business today. When your wife tells you to do something, you do it. I don't know if anybody saw the police activity across the street this week over at Twin Peaks Elementary. There was a lockdown. There was a car that was left abandoned and a gun left on the front seat. My daughter goes there. Sorry, it's emotional for me. But it struck me this week because it was a scary situation. And there is something on the ballot this year, and I'm not asking you to vote one way or another. I'm just asking you to consider, because I know that many of you do not have children or grandchildren in the Marana Unified School District. But as you guys know, the Sunflower community is a large portion of the voting community in the town of Marana. And I just ask that you consider, when you see Prop 491 on the ballot this year, just give it a little extra consideration. A lot of that money goes to security at my kids' schools, and also is specifically earmarked for different things. So it can't be used for just anything. It can't be used for just after-school programs. It is specifically earmarked for security, new buildings, and things like that. So this week, it really sparked me, and I asked Richard if I could say a few words. I didn't tell him what I was going to say because I didn't want to be shut down. I'm not going to stop bringing donuts, so I'll keep bringing those. Just please give Prop 491 a consideration.
Richard, I'd like to add to what you're saying that one of our, I volunteer with the Marana Fire Department. Yeah.
When you talk from the audience, it doesn't get picked up on the Zoom.
Mark, I can tell you that I volunteer with the Marana Police Department. And one of our police officers just recently retired. And his job after retirement is going to be providing security, developing security for the Marana Police Department, for the Marana School District. Thank you.
Okay, this is probably the first meeting that we have had for several months where most of the board members are here. So for all of you new members, I would like to introduce the board. I'm Richard Long, I'm the president. Carol Taylor is one of our absentees this morning. She's on a family vacation, but she will be here for the barbecue on Saturday. David Van Ostall is at the membership table. He's the secretary. Gordon Barron is our treasurer. And Larry Shear is our technology expert. And he does everybody just does a great job. And as you've seen with all of the technology stuff that we've come up with, that's been a busy man. The rest of the board in alphabetical order, Dan Cook is in the back. He's going to be doing the Veterans Day program. Tim Meenan is visiting new grandbabies in Texas, so he's not here today. Steve Morris, I believe, Steve's not here. I believe he had a medical appointment this morning. Don Seymour is here. He's the part of the Fallen Veterans Program. Tom Shambo is the person that gets our speakers for us. Jimmy Stock is back from vacation. She does the cookout in the winter and supports the board with her other activities. She can be involved in the barbecue as well. Bruce Schwartz is in the back over there. He's been a great help on the barbecue because he's done all of the input for ticket sales and all of that stuff. Dick Toole is back. He does the logo wear. If anybody of you new members want shirts that say Sunflower Veterans Club on them with your name, see Dick. And Bob Whalen, who you just saw, is also with the Fallen Veterans Program. And with that, I will call Bob Whalen up because we do have a Fallen Veteran this month.
I'd like to recognize Robert Lauren Kaiser. Robert passed away a short time ago. He was a World War II and also a Korean War veteran. He served obviously in the Korean era and also in Europe. And he was a staff sergeant when he left the military service. And he was a member of the U.S. Army. And I'd like you all to stand and we'll have. I'd also like to recognize his wife Angela, who is in the where here she is right here in front. And I'd like you all to give her an applause.
Thank you, Bob. Gordon, are you ready with the treasurer's report?
Yep.
Morning, everybody. This is the treasurer's report for the month of September 1st through 30th. We started with a balance of $4,283.57. We had $2,314 worth of deposits. $500 came from Roger Daggett, which we want to thank Roger. The rest were through canned donations and sales of tickets for the upcoming barbecue. We had $454.93 worth of expenses, all of which were for the barbecue. We had a $350 cash donation that we made, and it had to be cash because they didn't have a checking account, to the Sunflower Corral. For their services and just for being there for us in all of our activities. That left us at the end of the month with a balance of $4,950.31. We have started the Patriots Pantry with a $1,500 threshold that we wanted to give to, and prior to the end of the month, we had it down to $473.76. At the most recent managers meeting, veterans managers meeting, we voted to increase it another $1,100 to bring it up to the $1,500 that we originally deemed as our threshold. That's it. Thank you.
Took my brains. Thank you, Gordon. Part of that balance I wanted to share with the club this morning. As a result of our involvement with the activity group with the Manhattan Doll Program that we're having in November, we sent out a letter to the various advertisers in the Suncatcher and in our community. They put in letters and different things. Sent out a letter asking them if they might not like to support us in this endeavor. And so I established 5 different categories of giving. Many 501c3 clubs do this type of thing when they're doing fundraising and charity work. And so I started the categories with basic trainee, $50, chief, $100, major, $300, colonel, $500, and general, $1,000. And I was somewhat shocked, actually, that within 2 days, I had received checks for $1,500 to support us in our efforts. They, for that purchase price, if you will, they will receive a line of advertising on the back of the program that's going to be at the Manhattan Dolls concert. So I also thought it was important to recognize this in this process, who our donors are, because we really don't necessarily know. I mean, we all donate into the buckets up there on a regular basis and do things, bring in canned goods, do all of this stuff. But for the major donors in the basic trainee category, there's Dan Jarvis. In the chief category, there's an anonymous donation, Tim Meenan and Sunflower Neighbors. In the colonel category, Mark Stein. And in the general category, Tim Walter from Diamondback Realty, Roger Daggett, United Realty, Christine and Ed Schaefer from Tierra Antigua, and Judy DeGrotto from Long Realty. So I truly believe But these people wouldn't be so generous if we weren't doing such wonderful things and keeping the community appraised of what it is that we're doing. So I applaud all of those people and, you know, it's just okay. The Pearl Harbor Day celebration, which is what this money is going to be spent for, it won't take anywhere near that much, but is going to be held on December 7th. There are a few tickets left, only a few. If I were to guess, I would say less than 20. So if you want a ticket and have not yet gotten one because the snowbirds are just starting to get back, the next sale date is the 11th. Is that Monday? I think it doesn't matter. It's October 11th from 9 to 11. Okay, so if you want tickets, you need to be front in line. All right, so that's so much for housekeeping issues. Our speaker this morning is Jennifer Gutowski. She was appointed director of the Southern Arizona Hospital Healthcare System in February of 2020. She previously served as director of the VA Pacific Islands Healthcare System from May of 2017 until she came here. Her territory was Hawaii, Guam, American Samoa, and Saipan and the Mariana Islands. I'm not sure why Tucson. She graduated with a master's degree from the University of Tulane in New Orleans. And I would like you to please give a hearty welcome to Jennifer Gutowski.
Thank you. Good morning. All right, come on, the coffee and sugar hasn't kicked in. Good morning. Good morning. All right, Tom, thank you so much for the invite, and Richard, thank you. You said I have, how long, 3 hours to go over? No, I'm just kidding.
3 hours and 20 minutes.
3 hours and 10 minutes. All right, good. No, again, good morning. I'm Jennifer Gutowski. I'm the CEO Director of the Southern Arizona VA, and it's really my honor to be with you today to share with you some updates about the VA. Before I get into all of that, I want to take a moment to introduce who's with me today. We have Nate Kennard. He's one of our eligibility and enrollment specialists. I'll let him tell a little bit about himself because he has such an impressive career, and he just shared with me that Friday is his last day after 20 years of service at the Tucson VA. So please join me in thanking him for his service. To share a little bit about yourself, and this morning, if you have some personal healthcare questions that you don't want to share in front of the group, both Nate and I will be here afterwards to answer any of those personal questions or concerns. So we're here for that. So Nate.
So I'm not actually as old as I look. I put gray dye in this. One of the things I relate to Jennifer was when I'm retired, we're having a ceremony tomorrow and everybody has to vote when they come in. Let it continue to grow, trim it up, or shave it off. I'm going to have everything there. So I'm just going to close my eyes or put a blindfold on and just pray. I started the VA in 2003. I started off with the new patient. It was a brand new program. They hired me to make it work. I hid all the bad little mistakes from my boss. I only told her the really major ones. That clinic got swallowed up by the compensation and pension. So I started learning all of that. We also did all the environmental registry exams. So I have a vast knowledge of all those different areas. And then I decided I wasn't going to get any richer because nobody was retiring above me, so I couldn't move up. So I decided to join eligibility enrollment, and I've been there ever since. So it's a lot of fun sitting down with the vets, even if they don't qualify. So back in 2003, they did put that restriction on money. So I would coach them in other ways of being eligible. Filing for a VA pension, filing for a compensation and pension. Wouldn't believe how many veterans say, oh, they'll never give it to me. I'm too old now. I just keep at them. They finally go out and they actually put their claim in. And then they come back. Oh my God, they gave it to me. I said, yeah. I cracked my ankle as a kid. I had an x-ray done. Oh, in the military. And the guy told me, oh, I see you cracked your ankle when you were a kid. You must have been around this age. I was surprised. It was like a year off. So yeah, even if you don't think you get it, it's best to apply. So we'll let you go through all of this.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you so much. And afterwards, we do have a number of documents for your education. Please don't hesitate to take them or all of them. If we need to provide more, we're happy to do so. Before I get into talking a little bit about the Tucson VA in Southern Arizona, let me just share a little bit about myself. I've been with the VA system for 23 years. And as was mentioned prior to coming here as the CEO director, I was for 3 years in the Pacific Islands, covering that vast territory out there in the Pacific. And prior to that, I was here in Tucson, actually, as the Chief Operating Officer for a number of years, as well as interim director. Before that, I was in Chicago, Illinois at the Hines VA, and I started my VA career in Long Beach, California. So a number of different positions. I've worked my way up through the VA, but this is more than a job for me. And you heard Nate talk about his military experience. For me, I'm not military, but my dad served in the military as a Navy corpsman. He was in Vietnam, and he gets all his care from the VA. And to Nate's point, it's never too late to find out what you're eligible for. Because my dad, even working for the VA and what he did not know what he was eligible for the services that he earned and deserved. And I'm very grateful for the VA. My dad, I'm an only child, and mom passed away a couple of years ago. And so my dad lives with me and my partner full time. And so I really appreciate all the services that the VA has to offer. You better believe it, I better be doing a good job because he's watching me. But truly, it's more than a job. It's personal to me, the work that we're doing and the journey that we're on. For those, how many of you use the VA system? If I can just get a sense of, okay, a good number. Well, as I mentioned, please find out. Eligibility and laws change all the time. So don't hesitate to contact us to find out what the latest may be and how that could apply to you and your family. A little bit about the Southern Arizona VA healthcare system. So we have 3 VAs in Arizona. We have the Northern Arizona VA, Phoenix VA, and then us in the Southern Arizona portion. And my territory goes all the way out to Yuma, where we have a clinic, all the way far north as Casa Grande, where we have a clinic. We also go all the way down to the border. We have a clinic in Sierra Vista, in Safford, in Green Valley, and we have 2 in the metropolitan Tucson area, 1 in Southeast, and the newest relocation up in Northwest on Linda Vista and Thornydale. We serve approximately 58,000 veterans located in 8 counties across southern Arizona and New Mexico. Our main medical center is 295-bed teaching and research hospital. We are committed to providing the very best clinical care that we can. We're on a journey for being a high reliable organization. And what does that mean? That means we're on a relentless pursuit for zero harm for our patients and our staff. Because that's what all of our veterans and our team members deserve. We have over 3,000 employees that work for the VA. About a third of them are veterans themselves, or like me, have a connection to the mission. And we're one of the largest employers in the Southern Arizona area. And I'll mention more about where we are with hiring. We just recently came away from, we opened up our new fiscal year in October, and we're looking at our strategic planning as we have a new Undersecretary for Health, Dr. Ellen Hall, and ensuring that we're aligning what we're doing with his vision for VHA. And so for us at the Southern Arizona VA, we're focused on enhancing access and quality care provided by us to meet veterans' individualized needs, engaging with veterans, one another, and community partners, just like here today. So thank you for this opportunity to create a healing experience through the promotion of integrity, respect, empathy, and dignity. It's about empowering individuals to foster an organizational culture that prioritizes zero harm, safety, and encourages action and advocacy, and to elevate team-based processes by eliminating waste and implementing innovations to optimize our experience for our veterans and our employees. So I'm going to talk about some of the hot topics. And again, we have some handouts here. So let's talk about the PACT Act. The PACT Act expands and extends eligibility for VA healthcare for veterans with toxic exposures and veterans of the Vietnam era, Gulf War era, and post 9/11 combat veterans. It's a new historic law that expands VA healthcare and benefits for veterans exposed to burn pits and other toxic substances. The law gives the VA the ability to provide generations of veterans and their survivors with the care and benefits that they earned and deserve. This adds more than 20 new presumptive conditions for burn pits and other toxic exposures. It adds more presumptive locations for Agent Orange and radiation exposure. It'll be providing toxic screenings, exposure screenings for every veteran enrolled in VA healthcare, and that'll be starting soon. It'll help us improve research, staff education, and treatment related to toxic exposures. We'll be working on executing a comprehensive plan to outreach to make sure that every veteran and survivor gets the care they need and the benefits they deserve. And here are some of the most important things for you all to know. We want VA, we want you, the veterans and the survivors, to apply now for your PACT Act benefits. Because these conditions have already taken a serious toll on so many and their families, we're considering all conditions established in the PACT Act to be presumptive starting on August 10th, the date the bill was signed into law. The Veterans Benefit Administration will begin processing these presumptive benefits for veterans and survivors on the earliest date possible, which my understanding from Chris Norton, who is the head of the VA here in the state of Arizona, will be January 1st, was the latest that was shared with me. And any veteran or survivor can learn more about the PACT Act by visiting va.gov/PACT, PACT, or call 1-800-MY-VA-411. Again, we have some information up here on some flyers. Please help us spread the word about that. Now turning to talking a little bit about suicide prevention. And the VA released the 2022 National Veteran Suicide Prevention Annual Report on September 19th, 2022. And this report showed that on a national level, veteran suicide decreased in 2020 for the second year in a row, and that fewer veterans died by suicide than in any year since 2006. As part of the VA's comprehensive efforts to end veteran suicide, VA's also announced grantees for Staff Sergeant Parker Gordon Fox Suicide Prevention Grant Program, a first of its kind program that provides VA funding for local suicide prevention programs, and finalists for Mission Daybreak, which is a suicide prevention grand challenge. What were some of these key findings from this national 2022 veteran suicide prevention report? As I mentioned, veteran suicides decreased in consecutive years by 307 in 2019 and 343 in 2020 deaths, the biggest decrease in suicide count rates since 2001. From 2018 to 2020, the age and sex-adjusted suicide rate among veterans fell by 9.7%. Among women veterans, the age-adjusted suicide rate fell by 14.1% compared to 8.4%. Among non-veteran women, the age-adjusted suicide rate for women veterans in 2020 was the lowest since 2013. And the age-adjusted suicide rate for veteran men was the lowest since 2016. From 2019 to 2020, veteran suicide rates fell across all racial groups. Comparisons of trends in veteran suicide and COVID-19 mortality over the course of 2020 and across veteran demographic and clinical subgroups did not indicate at that time an impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. To me, any suicide is one too many. I want to share with you also that you may have heard that the Veterans Crisis Line is now simplified. It was a 1-800 number. It is now 988 and press 1. I want to make sure that everyone has that information because anyone can call that number about anyone they may be concerned about. And it's often those that are closest that may see things, sleeplessness, irritability, and we can certainly have a speaker come talk about anything further that could really provide training on suicide prevention and the science and things that all of us can be aware of in making a difference. We see this, unfortunately, far too many times, and I think it's just a mission for all of us. I brought gun locks here, and please take them. And please feel free to distribute, and if you need more, let me know. The research shows that when there is a gun lock, there is that moment that sometimes is that moment enough for that person to reconsider taking their life. So please help me distribute those to those that may have guns to hopefully, again, continue to prevent suicide. This is a community issue that I think all of us have to work on. It's not something that the VA alone can do. So please join me, which I know you all do, in helping to prevent suicide. I want to switch now and talk a little bit about another very important program, and that's caregiver support. And we have general caregiver support program services that any caregiver is eligible for. But we also have a special program that is called the Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregivers. And right now the VA is extending that particular eligibility for legacy veterans and their families. This expansion for this program of comprehensive assistance for family caregivers is now expanded to veterans of all eras. And that goes into effect October 1, 2022. And your caregiver support team is working hard to process applications as timely as possible. So we have some information on that. Again, it's also online at vacaregiver.com. All legacy participants who previously determined to no longer meet criteria under the Mission Act expansion would remain in the program for an additional 3 years. You can read more online about that program. So I wanted to share that with you, and we certainly have that contact information if you need it about our caregiver support program. I also want to share, in changing topics, that recently on September 1, 2022, the VA submitted the Federal Register an interim final rule that allows the VA to provide access to abortion counseling and, in certain cases, abortion to pregnant veterans and VA beneficiaries. The VA will provide access to abortions when the life or health of the pregnant veteran would be endangered if the pregnancy were carried to term or when the pregnancy is a result of rape or incest. VA beneficiaries enrolled in CHAN VA will also have access to this care. The VA overall is still working out the details on this new ruling and will continue to provide additional report. I've provided up here my director's report, which I share monthly, and I like to include updates that we're hearing from our national office as well as what it means locally. So if you don't already get that report, I think that you all send it out to your membership. So thank you for doing that. Switching to flu season, it is flu season. We do have the flu vaccine available at the main facility as well as CVOC. So please ask your primary care team about when we have those available. At the end of the month, we will be doing a drive-through. Make it easy, just stick out your arm and boom, you are done. So lots of events to get your flu vaccine. If you get it somewhere else, let us know, because we want to make sure that we're capturing that information as well. On a different note, I want to share with you that VA is extending a temporary hardship suspension for benefit debts. The Department of VA Affairs is extending financial hardship suspension on benefit debts through December 31. And the relief option to help veterans through the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still very real, was set to expire, but that is now extended through December of 2022. I also want to talk a little bit about access to care. Some folks may have seen the story that was on KOLD last night. I want to talk a little bit about that. We at the VA are very transparent about any challenges we may be seeing with access to care. In fact, you can go online on access to care and look specifically at our VA and any of our locations for a number of specialties and see what the wait time is. And as you all know, those that are for the Mission Act, if we're unable to see timely, folks have a choice to be seen in the community if that is something that the veteran chooses. And we also have other eligibility if it's in the best interest, medical interest, in which the provider can decide if that care needs to be provided in the community. It is no doubt that many of us have challenges right now with recruitment and retention of medical professionals. We're doing everything we can to recruit high quality medical professionals to provide the care. We are doing recruitment, retention, relocation, education debt reduction, anything that we can do to really attract the very, very best. I want to share with you that most recently we had on-station and onboarding hiring fair. And we partnered with our human resources department, which is modernized and centralized at the network level. And we had on-station, we were able to provide 130 tentative job offers to nurses, nurse practitioners, medical support assistants, social workers, a wide varied, to cut down the timeline for bringing on new staff. So we are doing everything we can to be as creative as we can within the bureaucracy that we work to bring on folks as quick as we can to provide the services. So again, if you know anyone that is looking for a job, we are hiring. You name it, we are hiring, honestly. And you can send me their resume. We will reach out to them. We do a lot by USA Jobs, but we do have a lot of ability to do non-competitive hires And there's different authorities that we have, and we recognize that USA Jobs is not necessarily intuitive in terms of applying for a job, so we can help folks navigate through sometimes that very complicated process. But I want to be honest with you and let you know what we're doing. We have teams that are constantly looking at what we're doing to, again, provide care timely and in a quality manner, not only for the care that we provide, but also how we're providing the care and coordinating it out in the community. And I know I'm not alone with the challenges that we're seeing from the workforce. It's not only at our facility, it's really within the community as well. We're certainly not alone, but I think Tucson is an amazing place to be and to live, and we certainly promote that. I also want to share with you some of the things that we've been able to do and are coming up for construction. We've been very fortunate at this VA to continue forward with a number of construction projects, some that you see and some that you may not see, because believe it or not, our facility at the main campus is going to be 95 years old next year. And I really think our team does an incredible job trying to keep the infrastructure so that we can keep our facility running. But we have a lot of new things happening too. So many of you know that we relocated our Northwest community-based outpatient clinic from Shannon and Ina over to Thornydale and Linda Vista. That's expanded our footprint from our primary care teams, where we had 6 to 7 teams. We're going to be able to expand up to 9 teams. And we're looking at more of what we can do from a virtual perspective in offering some of our specialty services. We also, part of our master plan is building a new bed tower. I wish this could happen in all one fell swoop. I'll just put that out to the universe. But right now, we're really looking at it in terms of phases. But our bed tower phase 1 project is moving forward, and don't quote me on all these dates because you know how construction works, but I'll promise I'll keep you updated. But I'm hoping that it'll go out for solicitation for our first phase in the second quarter of this fiscal year. And so we're working on that. Some of that's going to involve some demolition of buildings. For example, our MRI and CT will have to find a temporary home. And so we're working on all of that because that will need to be removed before we start with that construction. But it's all about modernizing our facility. We want our inpatient bed tower to have private rooms and again, to be state of the art. So this is all part of our master facility plan and how we're moving forward. We also have a number of construction that's going to start about some of the interior. In my building 38, which is in building 50 and 57, some of the main parts of the hospital, we're upgrading some of our air conditioning and mixing valves, things to make sure that we're keeping the place cool. We're also expanding our mental health care clinic in building 90 by an additional 13,000 square feet. And we're hoping that that'll be moving later in winter this year. So once that starts, that expansion, then we'll be going back and remodeling the Agave clinic into our PACT model, which the PACT model you'll see now at our Northwest clinic, which allows our providers to use 2 rooms and kind of maximize efficiency and puts the team all together in what I like to refer to as our bullpen. Gives the team a chance to really work together collaboratively and be able to see our veterans very efficiently. We're also going to be long overdue working on an expansion for our emergency department. And that is in the last phase of its design. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we're waiting to hear if we will be funded for construction on that. So again, a lot of construction happening across the facility, which I think is a good, challenging problem for us to have to work through. But again, it shows the support for this VA to be present as we continue forward in the future. I also just want to end by talking a little bit about whole health. We were joking a little bit before about donuts and such, but the VA is really committed to taking care of our veterans' mind, body, and spirit. And if you haven't taken advantage of our different whole health programs, which a lot you can do virtually, we have Tai Chi, meditation, battlefield acupuncture, healthy eating, lots of different classes that are now being offered. Again, we really believe that prevention really helps to healthy living. And so that concludes kind of the brief overview of what's happening at the Southern Arizona VA. Lots of good things, lots of opportunities, lots of challenges ahead, but I'm really honored to serve as the director and to support the team, the care that they give. So thank you for your support for the Southern Arizona VA and what you do for donation and volunteering. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jennifer. I just wanted to open it up for questions and answers briefly. And so I'm going to start. I'm preempting. One of the ideas that I had a medical issue and I ended up in the emergency room, but I wasn't sick. I went there because I could not see my primary care physician. He said, we need to know what's going on, go to the emergency room, which I did. So I'm just offering this as a potential suggestion. Obviously, it started happening on Sunday. I wasn't going to go to the emergency room on Sunday. I couldn't contact my primary care physician on Sunday anyway. So I went down on Monday. When I walked into the emergency room, there was a sign there that said, we see the sickest people first. I cannot disagree with that at all. So I knew I was going to be there. I hadn't packed lunch and I didn't bring my sleeping bag, but I knew I was going to be there for a while. So my idea simply is Mondays and Fridays are the busy days at the emergency room, according to all the staff there. Is it possible to have an emergency care physician on duty on Mondays and Fridays to see these types of non-sick walk-in patients? Because it seems like, and it's not just VA, it seems like all of the emergency rooms are seeing urgent care issues, if you will, in lieu of getting in to see their primary care physician. So I was just thinking maybe that was an idea that you could.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you asked the question, and I hope that you're doing okay now. A couple of things that I will mention and that you may or may not be aware of. After hours, you can call. We have a 24/7 nurse advice line. And as part of that 24/7 nurse advice line, we now have tele-urgent care, where we have physicians and nurse practitioners that you can tap into on your phone to even determine if you actually need to physically go to an emergency room, which may or may not have been the situation, but I just want to make folks aware. And I'm looking, I think I have this phone number with me. I'm sure there's Nate running, so I know oh, here it is. I have the phone number. It's a nurse advice line. It's 1-877, but we'll make sure to get this out to folks. 252-4866. So after hours, and they are staffed 24/7, they're able to look at your medical record, see what's going on, and talk to you about what may or may not need to be done in terms of emergency room. And like I said, they also have started a tele-urgent care virtually to be able to see you depending on the severity of the situation. So absolutely, that is becoming more and more available. You know, we also, so I think the virtual healthcare is something that's becoming more accessible to folks, and we'd love to get that out there, that we now have this available. But thank you very much for the input and the ideas. Keep them coming, because that's how we develop these services. In fact, it was an emergency room physician at Tucson who started the tele-urgent care program for our region, probably because of suggestions and feedback from veterans like you and her own experience. So these innovations come from feedback from all of you. Thank you. Good question.
Thank you. I didn't know that. Jim?
What does it mean if you are a teaching hospital? What does it mean that you are a teaching hospital?
Great question. So what that means is that we have academic affiliations. So we have residents, students, and trainees that get their experience at our VA. And they're proctored and seen by senior clinicians and at our facilities. So we have medical residents, medical fellows. Our main affiliation is with the University of Arizona. We also have many other affiliations and programs. We have intern programs for psychologists. We just received a very new award to do a dietitian internship program. Why is this beneficial? That's the workforce of the future. And many folks decide to stay on. In fact, myself, I went through graduate health administration training program. With my master's in healthcare administration, I did a 1-year fellowship with the VA and stayed on ever since. I can't tell you that I would ever know that that was even a possibility if it wasn't for that opportunity of that internship to get the exposure to the VA. So I'm very grateful that our VA has different academic affiliations, and even to the level of working with high schools and with community colleges. It's the workforce of our future. And so anything we can do to expose folks to careers in science and technology and math early on, I think will have a positive outcome. So that's what it means to be a teaching facility. Thank you for the great question.
I can address the experience that I have in that very issue. I was visiting with the audiologist. He told me that he was a resident. And I asked him, why would you come to the VA for a residency? And he said, because I can see patients here in 1 week, that if I was in a resident in a private audiology clinic, I wouldn't see in 6 months. So the value that he was seeing with all of the varied injuries, all of the hearing issues as a result of weaponry and all of that sort of stuff is so amplified in a VA situation. So I was amazed. I was pretty pleased to hear his comments. Question.
You mentioned the flu vaccine. What about Omicron?
Yes, we do have the COVID booster available, so please do connect with the primary care team to find out about that. Yes, we do have that available as well. You can get a double shot same day, so. Good question. I know we have Moderna, we do not have Pfizer, but you can talk to the primary care doctor about the details about that. I'm not a clinician, so I'll be the first one to refer you to have that conversation about what makes best sense for you in terms of that booster. And I'll just mention before we go on, just 2/3 of all medical professionals rotate at some point in time through a VA as part of their training. So just wanted to share that as well.
Wow.
Hello, Jennifer. I'm Joe Shamble, VSO from at the VA. Question I get all the time is, now the snowbirds are coming back. What about parking? Did everything can do in the garage there? And then, that's one of the big hassles everybody has, and I hear it all the time. Is there any plans to do the garage? And the other question is, when are you going to take the fences down? It's hard for people to get around.
They're all great questions. Thank you very much. First, I'll talk a little bit about parking and construction. And the VA has criteria for parking and parking garages, and we are constantly looking at that in terms of ensuring that we have sufficient and ample parking. And I think you all are aware and are thankful for our tram drivers that we do utilize to transfer folks around the parking lots. Right now, we do not have it on the plan for a parking garage, quite frankly, because these projects also get ranked and competed with all of our clinical projects as well. But I recognize that it is a challenge, and again, I thank those that help us with the tram driving and ensuring we're picking up folks and delivering folks to the door, and we'll continue to look at that. I think also in terms of the fences, yes, we too can't wait for those to come down, and we are continually looking to the VA and the CDC for guidance on COVID-19 and when we can relieve some of the restrictions that we have currently for screening and such. So until such time that we receive that guidance, we still are required on our hospital and clinic campuses to do screening and to do masking protocol due to the transmission testing rate at this time. But we're constantly looking at that. We're waiting for additional VA guidance to see what more can be relaxed. As soon as we get word, trust me, we will be ready to swoop that down and open that up so to make it easier for the drop off and pick up. But again, I recognize that the challenges with, you know, the overall campus is a large campus. Now, I will say one of the silver linings of COVID is that a lot of my staff have gone to telework or virtual or telework on some level. So as well as the care that we're providing, a significant amount is still remaining being virtual. So it'll be interesting to see as we continue to study parking, how much that has made an impact and on what days. And then we'll continue to look at it, but it is something that we do look at as a regular basis. So good question, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank everybody for your interest and your questions. Nate, if you would like to come up here for just a moment, please. Yeah, 3 hands. I would like to present both of you as a thank you with a paperweight from the Sunflower Community Veterans Club, so that you can put on your desk and you can remember all of the good things that you do for us and that we try and do for you. And I'm doing this extemporaneously because I didn't get permission from my board. But all those in favor of giving Jennifer and the VABS for their caregiver support program a check, please raise your hand. I think it was unanimous. I'm happy to present this check to you for $200 for the caregiver support program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can we do a little photo op behind that? Mind if we do a photo?
Post office.
He's gonna be famous, I mean, infamous famous on Facebook now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, under the card over here that has the nurse's hotline information on it. Okay, barbecue coming up on Saturday. We still do have some tickets available, and the cutoff for tickets is tonight. So please go online, get your tickets. We've learned in the past that people tend to forget about it and they show up here at the center wanting to know if we have any last minute tickets because they start smelling all the good stuff in here that's cooking. So we will have a few last minute tickets available. Okay, last month I got to be Karen Christopher because she was affected with COVID. And following later that week, Carol Taylor and I went out to the facility out there to deliver the generous mountain of stuff that we collected, that the community brought in for the women warriors. And Tim went with us and he did a little video. And so I'd like to show you the video. This is Karen Kusiver from Women Warriors. And not me doing it to tell the truth situation.
We're here at Women Warriors, and this is Karen Kusifer, and we're here from the Sunflower Community Veterans Club to present a check for $500 to Women's Warrior from our Sunflower Veterans Club. And at the same meeting we had on Wednesday, a gentleman came forward, one of the realtors in our community, and is presenting you a check for $500.
Nice, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And we know it'll go to good use.
Good, yes, definitely. I do
Yes.
have a female veteran right now who is in current need of rental assistance,
So
so.
good, perfect. We hope we can help her out.
I'm Richard Long, president of the Sunflower Community Veterans Club. And I'm here this morning with Karen Kusiver, who is the president, executive director, and founder of an organization called Women Warriors. It's an organization specifically that serves the needs of women veterans in crisis. Karen, how did you come up with this idea? And can you tell us a little bit about your concept?
Yeah, coming up with the idea is actually quite a long story, so we will go with the short version of it. Doing a school project, I ran across a female veteran with two small children who just got off the street and into an apartment. And I thought, you know, how sad that she didn't have anything in her apartment or anything for Christmas. So I gathered around the school and decided to go ahead and do a small resource fair for female veterans. In doing so, I found a need that there was, you know, the women were being disregarded or not there, or, you know, how would I put it? Underserved is the word. Thank you so much, Kara. So with that being said, I thought, okay, let's do another resource fair. And that became successful. And I thought, okay, well, I can do much more than just resource fairs. So I became a 501c3 in 2018 and started collecting monetary donations in order to help them financially. So now we have helped hundreds and hundreds of female veterans with emergency financial assistance, such as rent, utilities, and car repairs. We have an office in Sierra Vista now, and I have 47 female veterans that are being cared for over there. I have a case manager there that will bring them commodities, take them to doctor's appointments, and do all sorts of classes with them over there. Over here, we have just a small handful of them. However, a lot of them, their needs are basically right now is car repairs, which is quite a bit of money. Because if they can't get to work, they won't be able to pay their rent. So I decided to open up this resale boutique in order to help fund the nonprofit. So our monetary donations and our roundups go directly into the emergency financial assistance, as well as some of the proceeds that come in go towards the classes that we run. However, we have more need financial wise as opposed to people wanting to do classes. So right now we're kind of balancing it out.
What is the average age of the people that you help, would you say?
Well, right now it's in the Vietnam era. We have a lot of disabled female veterans from the Vietnam era at this point that are receiving assistance from us. I do have maybe 20 that are in Desert Storm, Afghan, Iraq. But other than that, the majority of them are Vietnam.
And are most of them single?
Yes, but as a matter of fact, all of them are.
All of them are single?
They all are. I have quite a few that have children as well. As a matter of fact, Miss Veteran McSwain there, I've been assisting her since her twins were newborns. She was on the Head Bash program. She was only receiving $200 a month in disability. She had the twins. She also navigated through herself, helped herself through the system as far as getting the WIC and food stamps and such. She very rarely even asked us for help, but of course I always included her in the angel trees and Thanksgiving and such. And now her boys are 3 years old, and we assisted her in moving up to West Virginia to help her, to live with her sister so that she can get some more help in that aspect, because she was here raising those two babies by herself. But she's doing very, very well. I really, if you see a lot of these women up here on this board, as a matter of fact, Miss Sutton over there, she just needed an ear and food, you know, and some financial assistance, and now she runs her own company. So they basically just needed a hand up instead of a handout. Becky, as a matter of fact, is our secretary board treasurer, and she also volunteers here. Maya over there works at the Salvation Army Hospital Hospitality House and helps them over there, as she was in the Living 95 program, and we've assisted her over there as well. So yeah, we have a lot of success stories. I keep in touch with every single one of them, you know, they're like my family. So, I mean, doing what we do brings a lot of hope into their lives.
How do people find out about you?
We have either the Southern Arizona VA healthcare system, Women's Health Clinic, and or HUD-VASH. Esperanza and Escalante also sends their women over here as well. So, yeah, it's just all basically word of mouth at this point in time.
So the rest of the building here is being utilized by, in combination with Wendy's Boutique, is that correct?
That's correct.
And so maybe you would like to show us around the boutique.
Okay, I'd love to. And you all know the story of Wendy, correct? No. Okay. So Wendy, Wendy Madrid was a Navy veteran who passed away in the beginning of, as a matter of fact, March of 2018. And her husband, David Madrid, heard about us and decided to donate her entire collection of clothing to us, which included at least 20 huge, large U-Haul boxes full of brand new clothes, scarves, shoes, purses, you name it, everything. And that's what he called it, was Wendy's collection. So in my September resource fair in 2018, I decided to dedicate that little tiny makeshift store that I had in there in memory of her. So that's how Wendy's came about. I don't have any more of her clothing. However, the community continues to donate beautiful stuff here to us. And it goes through a rigorous process, to be honest with you. This is our couture area. This is where our higher price items are, our gowns, our formals, where you find your name brand type of clothing over here.
Isn't it also true that when someone needs clothing for
Oh, yes.
job interview and
Yes.
stuff, that they can actually shop here and there's no charge?
Yes, my program veterans who come to me for assistance can shop over here at no cost to them. So if they need interview clothing, they come over here and get it. They just need everyday clothing, they come and get it. If they need furniture, appliances or anything, they all have access to everything that's in here. However, they do get a store credit, which kind of helps teach them a little bit about money control, you know, not to spend it on frivolous things, you know, so they get a certain amount, which every now and then, you know, of course I'll bump it up if they need it, yeah, but however, they learn to shop in that manner, you know, plus it's good for my inventory. So everything on this side is $8 and up, so I put it that way. It's a little bit higher price. Everything on this side of this is $8 and down. In here is our classroom. We were hoping to start classes here soon. We got everything donated in here, the sewing machines, the cutting tables, the tables itself. The electrical was donated by Buddy and Sons. They put electrical up there and added some on the wall, so that way when we have the sewing machines hooked up, it's able to take that type of capacity. In this little corner here, we have a section to where we have a veteran in distraught. We bring her in here and just either let her be who she is, or we sit in here, we comfort her, talk to her, and make her feel safe. So that's what this little tiny area is for. We have a lot of really beautiful items. It's just getting people to come in here and shop.
So when you have a request that's too big for you to handle, I believe that you said something about working together with other agencies to be sure that the person is cared
Yes,
for.
yeah, if I have, because we have a max cap per veteran. which is, right now, we moved it up to 350. Because if we used all of our funds, we would be broke all the time. So I reach out to the Military Order of Purple Heart, Chapter 442, the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 106, Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association, and other smaller veteran organizations to get them to help. And they usually more than likely pitch in, and we all come up with the money to help that veteran.
I just want to say thank you for everything you do for all of the veterans, the female veterans out there that need your help. And we're so happy that we're able to support you in some small way.
I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Tim. It turned out fabulous. It was a lot more information than I was able to share last month. New business, there will be no regular December meeting this year because of the Manhattan Dolls on Pearl Harbor Day. And so instead, we are having a November meeting, which we don't normally have. There will be several opportunities to sign up for various things at that meeting because we will be putting up the flags for November 11th. You know, we've got a busy week coming up. Before November 11th, the day before, evening before, is our annual Chow Line potluck. And Carol Taylor is heading that up. She said the tickets will go on sale the 28th of October, so that's later this month. They will be announced in the both the Suncatcher and in the communicator. So on the 28th, ticket sales from 10 to 12, and on November 2nd, which is immediately following this meeting, from 10:30 to 12. So be sure and sign up for the Chow Line potluck. It is our annual DAV donation. They are our beneficiary. Main dishes are $6. Well, I mean, you bring a main dish and you pay $6. That's for 2 people. Side dish is $9. And if you want to bring no food at all, that's $15. But there's a very limited number of those tickets available because obviously we have to have enough donations to feed, you know, who's ever going to be here. So if you simply can't cook, that's an option for you. Okay, and I wanted to share one thing with you. We're running a little bit long this morning, but you know, what the heck. Ted Masters, who was a World War II veteran, brought me in a clipping, a recipe that he had for what they call black bread, which is what they fed the POWs in Germany. And I promised him that I was going to try and make this, and then he brought me the recipe. So I probably should not have jumped the gun on that because it uses 50% bruised rye grain, 20% sliced sugar beets, 20% tree flour, parentheses, sawdust, and 10% minced leaves and straw.
Sounds good.
The author of this, it really doesn't sound good, does it? I think it'd be chewy. The author of this said, from our own experiences with the black bread, we also saw bits of glass and sand. Someone was cheating on the recipe. So, just a little interesting tidbit. Okay, do we have new members here today and or members that haven't been here for a while that would like to reappoint you? Any new members?
haven't been here for a while.
No new members?
I haven't been here for 4 months, but I'm back.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the cause? Yes. Tom?
Yes, as you leave today, there are some pamphlets up on the, I guess it's with the nameplate board. AARP, which probably many of us are members of, we seem to be in that age category. They have a fraud watch division, and they put out a special pamphlet to Veterans Edition and how to be careful and kind of watch what's going on with potential fraud applications. So they're up there on the. Go ahead and use it. Okay, with the name tags. All right, thank you very much.
I don't think I've gotten my AARP notice that I'm eligible. Yeah. I know, Bob, you're gonna say that I'm in denial and I need counseling, right?
You just forgot.
Okay, anybody else?
Put it the other hand. Looks like I put something else in. As we all know, it's that time of year again. The Arizona Veterans Memorial Cemetery Foundation is raising money to beautify our cemetery out there. So the June clear tickets are for sale. One is $25, 5 is $100. That's your best deal. And you get to win a vehicle or a trip around the world or wherever. I just got some sad news this morning. Our founder, Paul Marsh, who you saw speak with me on Memorial Day, has been put in hospice. So I'll be talking to his daughter shortly after this meeting. But if you're interested in a ticket, I'm going to stick around for a while and I'll give them to you.
Thanks, Tom. Anybody else? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.